I've worked on hundreds of sales proposals throughout my career, and I've assisted others with their proposals. I've made and seen my share of mistakes. So let me share with you the 5 most common and damaging ones that I encounter. The first is the commodity trap. This is where you go with the crowd, charging market rates for a standard service that is comparable to what others are charging. While that may sound reasonable, it's a slippery slope to letting your service become a commodity, and commodities wind up competing primarily on price. That's not a good place to be if you're trying to grow your consulting practice. The second is falling short of awesome. This means you did a good job with your project, but you fell short of the client's expectations because you didn't really address their business need. In other words, you gave them what they asked for rather than what they needed. This often comes from acting as an order taker rather than as a real consultant. It's important to understand your client's business needs and to tailor your solutions and services to those needs. One-size-fits-all pricing. Many consultants make the mistake of thinking they should have a single rate that they charge everyone for everything. Price should be a reflection of your value, and your value varies based on the client and which client needs that you're solving. There needs to be flexibility in your pricing to address different needs and value propositions. Blindfolded on a bridge. Some consultants make the mistake of assuming that their price is based solely on their costs, or should be. Clients don't care about your costs. They gauge value based on their own criteria and by comparing across different vendors. You need to understand your client's business needs and stay on top of the constantly changing competitive landscape. If you don't look outward, you're like a blindfolded person walking on a bridge. Eventually, you're going to fall into the water. The last is, this is my price. Sorry. Too often, consultants give off this vibe of being apologetic for their prices. They're ill-prepared to answer pricing questions and stumble their way through these conversations. Their lack of confidence gives a shrewd negotiator an opening to negotiate their prices down. Worse, they fear, the consultants fear, and avoid these conversations, and they're anxious to get out of them. So they often give up too much, too quickly during negotiations and wind up underpricing their value. So confidence without arrogance is a key success factor in negotiations. So you have to know your stuff, and you have to be confident in the way that you talk to clients about it. You know, there's nothing inevitable about these mistakes. They're all things that you can address with some practice and reflection, as well as putting some thought into your pricing system. What do I mean by a pricing system? I'm talking about a cohesive set of tools, pricing tools, that you can use to scope, cost, and price your projects quickly and accurately in response to different types of client needs that are going to come up. Now, as I was working on my pricing system, I found that I was able to avoid a lot of these mistakes, a lot of these traps, by being thoughtful about the way I was pricing, and I was able to have greater success, whether I was closing a $10,000 deal or $1 million deal.